My golden sister always called me the odd one out in the family, but now she's asking for help after losing everything. Hi, I'm Dylan, 26. You know that one person in every family who feels like they were adopted, even though everyone insists they weren't? Yeah, that's me. My older sister, Ashley, the shining star of the family at 29, made sure I never forgot my role. She was the golden child, the queen of perfection. Me? I was the kid they probably considered trading in for store credit. If Ashley sneezed, Mom would drop everything, rush over with a monogram tissue, and write it in her planner like it was a national event. If I fell out of a tree and broke my arm, stop being dramatic, Dylan. You're fine. Spoiler, I was not fine. But in this family, there was Ashley. And then there was whoever else happened to live in the house. The absolute pinnacle of this dynamic hit me like a slap in the face on my 18th birthday. I was hyped. I mean, you only turn 18 once, right? A dinner, a cake, maybe even a lousy card from Mom with $5 in it. Low expectations, but hey, still something. Instead, the evening turned into Ashley's big announcement hour. Right there, at what should have been my moment, Ashley dramatically declared she was moving to New York for some fancy modeling contract. She even had the audacity to pull out a printed portfolio and pass it around the table. Here's the kicker. She got a cake. A whole freaking cake. Double chocolate with her name on it. Me? I didn't even get a candle to blow out. I just sat there, trying not to look like the world's saddest piñata, while everyone toasted to Ashley's bright future. As if that wasn't bad enough, later that night, she caught me in the hallway, smirked, and said, "You'll never make it out of here, little brother. Some people are just meant to stay small." Her voice dripped with the kind of fake sweetness that makes your skin crawl. I didn't say anything then. I was too stunned to come up with a comeback. But in my head, I was crafting a whole montage-worthy response. Something along the lines of, "Watch me prove you wrong, Ashley." And yeah, I swore that night, staring at her stupid, perfect reflection in the hallway mirror, that I'd prove I wasn't just some spare part in the Ashley show. The thing about being the odd one out is, it teaches you to play the long game. Ashley might have taken my birthday, but I wasn't about to let her take my pride. Years later, I'd managed to piece together a life that didn't suck. A decent IT job, a cozy little apartment where the Wi-Fi actually worked, and friends who didn't treat me like the family charity case. Was it glamorous? Nope. But it was mine. I didn't need anyone's approval, and that felt damn good. Ashley? Oh, she was living the dream. Or rather, the Instagram version of it. She married Todd, the human embodiment of a Wall Street bonus, and moved into a penthouse that probably had more square footage than my entire neighborhood. Designer furniture, rooftop pool, even a fridge that could order groceries for you. Classic Ashley, always the star of her own reality show. But then, out of nowhere, I got the voicemail. You know the kind. Cryptic, dramatic, and just vague enough to make you wonder if ignoring it would make you a terrible person. "Dylan, it's Ashley. I need your help." That was it. No hi, no how's it going, just straight up distress signal. I deleted it. Why would Ashley, of all people, need my help? This had to be a prank or some bizarre power play. Either way, not my circus, not my monkeys. The next day, there she was, at my door, and let me tell you, it was like seeing a ghost, except this ghost was clutching a battered suitcase and looked like she'd crawled out of a Lifetime movie. Her designer wardrobe had been swapped for mismatched sweats, her hair looked like it lost a fight with a blender, and her eyes were so bloodshot I almost offered her eye drops. This wasn't the Ashley I knew. This was a stranger. "Todd left me," she mumbled, staring at the floor like she was about to cry. "I have nowhere else to go." For a second, I just stood there, trying to process what I was seeing. Ashley, Miss Perfect, Miss Dylan, you'll never make it out of here, was now standing on my welcome mat, asking for a lifeline. If irony were a person, it'd be high-fiving me right now. "What happened to the penthouse?" I asked, half curious, half enjoying her discomfort. "Gone," she said, clutching her suitcase tighter. He drained the accounts. Everything. I have nothing. Now, here's the thing. Every fiber of my being screamed, "This is your moment, Dylan. Say something epic like, 'Sorry, wrong address.' Close the door and live your best life." But instead, I just stepped aside and let her in. Because as much as I wanted to hold a grudge, I couldn't leave her standing there like a broken Barbie doll. But make no mistake, this wasn't some grand gesture of forgiveness. This was curiosity. I needed to know how the mighty Ashley had fallen. And let's be real, I was gonna enjoy the show. Against every rational bone in my body, I let Ashley crash on my couch. Why? I'm still not sure. Maybe I wanted front row seats to the train wreck that was her life, or maybe I was just too stunned by the sheer audacity of her asking for help. Either way, there she was, taking over my space like she owned it, even though her kingdom had literally crumbled. Turns out, Todd had pulled a Houdini on their joint accounts, leaving her with enough debt to sink a small country. She had no job, no savings, and absolutely zero clue how to function without her Lux bubble wrap of a lifestyle. "I thought you'd understand." She sniffled over the cup of instant coffee I'd begrudgingly handed her. "You've always been simple." Simple. Simple. I had to bite my tongue so hard I'm surprised it didn't bleed. Oh, I understood all right. She was still the same Ashley, just with fewer zeros in her bank account. And apparently, helping her meant I was her new emotional punching bag. That night, while she was passed out on my couch, snoring like a chainsaw, might I add, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. It was lighting up the room like a strobe light at a bad rave. Normally, I'm not the snoop through your stuff type, but curiosity got the better of me. After all, she was in my house, so technically, the buzzing was my business. What I found? Oh boy, it was better than Netflix. Message after message from collectors threatening lawsuits. Final notice. Immediate action required. It was like a horror movie in text form. Then there were the friends, who were just loving her downfall. One particularly spicy message read, "Did you hear Ashley's broke? She's crashing with her loser brother. Karma's a biak, huh?" Honestly, I almost laughed out loud. Loser brother? Cute. And the pièce de résistance? Todd's new girlfriend, of course he had a new girlfriend, was sending Ashley pictures of their beach vacation. Sunsets, champagne, Todd grinning like the snake he is. The captions? Stuff like, "Living my best life." It was savage, even by my standards. Ashley was spiraling, and honestly, it was oddly satisfying to watch. I'm not proud of it, but after years of her treating me like I was a bug on her designer shoe, seeing her fall from grace had a certain poetic justice to it. But here's the kicker. Even in shambles, Ashley had this unshakable delusion that the universe owed her a break. Like, sis, your world's on fire, and you're sitting there wondering why it's not raining champagne. Things were already a circus, but the arrival of Ashley's friend Tiffany, that turned it into a full-on reality show. Tiffany strutted in like she was walking a red carpet, her acrylic nails clicking against her phone as she faked concern. "Oh, Ashley! Poor thing," she crooned, hugging Ashley so tightly I thought I heard ribs crack. Her over-the-top sympathy act was so nauseating, I almost handed her a bucket. Then she pulled out this suspicious envelope and handed it to Ashley with a smirk that practically screamed, "Drama incoming." "Take care of yourself, babe," she said, flashing her veneers and teetering off in her knockoff designer heels. As soon as the door shut, Ashley tried to stuff the envelope under a throw pillow, like she thought I wouldn't notice. Rookie move. I waited until she went to the bathroom, then snatched it. What I found inside? Let's just say it made Ashley's situation about 100 times worse. There she was, in all her drunken glory, captured in a series of photos at some party. And not just any party. This was the kind where people whisper insider trading and money laundering behind champagne glasses. In one particularly damning shot, she was handing an envelope. Seriously, what's with all these envelopes? To Todd's shady business partner, the same guy she always claimed was just a harmless old friend. By the time Ashley came back, I was practically vibrating with rage. "What the hell is this?" I demanded. waving the photos at her like a pissed-off librarian waving an overdue book. Her face went pale. "It's blackmail material," she whispered, snatching the envelope back like it was a lifeline. "If I don't pay them, they'll send it to the press." "Blackmail material?" I barked. "Ashley, are you kidding me? You're still lying after everything?" That's when she crumbled. For a moment, I thought she was going to faint. But nope. She just collapsed onto the couch in a heap of designer sweats and self-pity. Through broken sobs, she confessed that Todd's sudden financial implosion? Yeah, that might have been her fault. Apparently, her networking had involved some highly illegal activities, and the shady business partner had receipts. Literal receipts. "You got Todd dragged into this?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "No wonder he bailed. You didn't just burn the bridge, Ashley. You set the whole damn city on fire." Her sobbing turned into incoherent muttering about how she never meant for this to happen and just wanted to help. Help? The only thing she was helping was my blood pressure spike. This wasn't networking. It was the plot of a bad crime drama, starring Ashley as the clueless anti-hero who thinks she's too smart to get caught. Spoiler alert, she wasn't. Despite everything, despite her chaos tornado of bad decisions and how she treated me like a backup plan my entire life, I couldn't just sit back and let Ashley completely sink. Call it pity, call it masochism, whatever. The point is, I decided to help her. Because apparently, I'm the guy who rescues people even when they deserve to drown. First order of business. Get Ashley to ditch her toxic entourage. Step 1, I said. Delete every contact in your phone who has a selfie with champagne and a yacht. She glared at me like I'd asked her to burn her closet. Step 2, get a job. Modeling's out, I added before she could get delusional. Try retail. Her reaction was priceless. Retail? She gasped, clutching her metaphorical pearls. Dylan, I don't do minimum wage. Oh, my bad, I said, full sarcasm mode. Let me just call up Vogue and see if they're hiring for fallen socialites. She didn't laugh. Not surprising. Since her job prospects were going nowhere fast, I tackled the blackmail situation instead. Todd's shady buddy wasn't going to stop until Ashley paid up, which, spoiler, she couldn't. Enter my friend Josh, a cybersecurity wizard who spends his free time hacking things just for fun. I explained the situation, and he was more than happy to help. Within hours, Josh tracked down the blackmailer's digital footprint. Turns out, Todd's shady business partner wasn't just blackmailing Ashley. He had a whole portfolio of rich idiots he'd been squeezing for cash. Classic villain move. Greed always makes them sloppy. Do we send him a threatening email or what? Ashley asked, looking more panicked than grateful. No, Ashley, I said, trying not to roll my eyes. We send an anonymous tip to the police. Let the professionals deal with it. She didn't look thrilled, but she didn't argue either. A few days later, the cops raided Todd's buddy's office, and just like that, the blackmail problem was solved. Ashley was free to, well, continue spiraling, probably. I thought I'd feel good about it, like some kind of hero. Instead, all I felt was tired. Cleaning up her messes was starting to feel like a full-time job, one with terrible hours and absolutely no benefits. But here's the thing. I actually thought we'd turned a corner. That maybe, just maybe, this would be her wake-up call. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Turns out, solving one disaster doesn't stop someone like Ashley from finding, or creating, a dozen more. Ashley somehow landed a receptionist gig at a boutique, and for about 5 minutes, I thought maybe, just maybe, she was turning her life around. Spoiler, she wasn't. The job was basically just a stage for her to rehearse her next act in the Ashley show, where she pretended to be functional while continuing her side hustle of bad decisions. It started small, borrowing money here and there. I need to buy work clothes, she'd say, batting those fake lashes like I was a walking ATM. Call me gullible, but I believed her. Turns out, work clothes was code for cash I'm never paying back. It was shady, sure, but nothing compared to what came next. One night, she snuck out after dinner, which was weird because Ashley doesn't do low-key. I followed her, partly out of concern, mostly out of morbid curiosity. She hopped into an Uber, and I trailed her like some underqualified private investigator. We ended up at a place straight out of a noir film. Dim lighting, cigarette smoke in the air, and a sign that might have said, "Poker Den," if half the letters weren't burnt out. Inside, Ashley was seated at a sticky card table, her manicure shining under a single flickering light. She looked like a movie villain, except instead of a mastermind, she was just reckless and broke. The worst part? She was betting money she didn't even have, money she'd borrowed from me. Watching her throw it away like Monopoly cash made my blood boil. I stormed over, ignoring the side eyes from the sketchy crowd. "Ashley," I hissed, keeping my voice low enough not to start a scene. "What the hell are you doing?" She didn't even flinch. "Relax, Dylan. I'm winning." Spoiler, she wasn't. Her pile of chips was practically microscopic. "Winning?" I whisper-yelled. "You're gambling with my money!" That's when she lost it. "This is your fault!" she snapped, loud enough to make the dealer pause mid-shuffle. "You're supposed to help me, Dylan. Isn't that what family does?" Oh, that did it. "You ruined your own life, Ashley," I shot back, my voice rising with every word. "Don't you dare blame me because I'm the one cleaning up your mess." Her face flushed, and for a second I thought she might actually feel bad. But then, true to form, she doubled down. "You wouldn't understand. You've never had real responsibilities." I laughed, one of those dry, humorless laughs that says, "Are you hearing yourself right now?" Real responsibilities? Like blowing your savings at a poker table? Yeah, super relatable, Ash. Before she could respond, a guy twice my size with a scar across his cheek gave me a look that said, "Wrap it up, buddy." I grabbed her arm and dragged her out before things got uglier. "You can't keep doing this," I said once we were outside, trying not to lose it completely. "You're going to hit rock bottom, Ashley." She crossed her arms, glaring at me like I was the bad guy. "Maybe I already have," she muttered. And honestly, for the first time, I wasn't sure if I cared. The next morning, I woke up to an email alert that made my stomach drop. "Your savings account balance, $1,000. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. Maybe some kind of bank glitch? But no. When I checked the transaction history, there it was. The entire account had been wiped clean, transferred out in one big chunk. My name was on the transfer, but I sure as hell didn't authorize it. It didn't take a genius to figure out who the culprit was. "Ashley!" I shouted, storming into the living room where she was sipping coffee like she didn't have a care in the world. "Did you touch my bank account?" She had the audacity to look offended. "Why would I do that, Dylan?" she said, her voice dripping with fake innocence. "Oh, I don't know," I snapped, shoving my phone in her face. "Maybe because this says otherwise?" Her eyes flicked to the screen, and for a split second, she looked guilty. Then she recovered, crossing her arms. "It wasn't me," she insisted, like I'd magically forget how to read. "Don't lie to me, Ashley," I yelled. "You used my money to cover your gambling debt, didn't you?" She didn't answer, just stared at the floor like a kid caught stealing candy. That was all the confirmation I needed. My savings, the money I'd worked my ass off for, was gone because my sister thought I was her personal bailout fund. I saw red. "That's it," I said, grabbing her suitcase and shoving it at her. "Get out." "What? Dylan, where am I supposed to go?" she cried, finally dropping the innocent act. "Not my problem," I said, yanking the door open. "Figure it out, and don't come back." She begged, she pleaded, but I didn't budge. Watching her drag that suitcase down the hallway should have felt satisfying, but all I felt was a cocktail of rage and betrayal. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. A few hours later, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Todd's shady business partner, you know, the blackmail guy, standing there with a look that screamed trouble. "We need to talk," he said, pushing his way inside like he owned the place. Apparently, Ashley had used my name in her latest schemes, and now this guy wanted me to cough up more money. When I told him I had nothing to give, things turned ugly fast. He grabbed me by the collar, shoving me against the wall. "I don't care about your excuses," he growled. Pay up, or things get messy. Adrenaline kicked in, and I managed to break free and bolt for the door. I barely made it out, sprinting to the nearest police station to report the whole mess. As I sat there filling out the paperwork, one thought kept running through my head. Ashley hadn't just burned the bridge, she'd nuked it, and now I was left standing in the fallout. Months later, out of nowhere, I got a call from Ashley. Not the usual Dylan bail me out drama. This time she was calling from rehab. Yeah, rehab. Honestly, I half expected her to hit me with some elaborate guilt trip, but instead she started with something I'd never heard from her before. An apology. Dylan, she said, her voice softer than I remembered. I'm sorry. For everything. Stealing, lying, dragging you into my chaos. I was the problem. I sat there, stunned, clutching my phone like it might explode. Ashley? Admitting she was the problem? What was next? Pigs flying? But she wasn't done. She went on to tell me she'd been clean for a few months, was working at some nonprofit that helped people in recovery, and had even started paying me back. Paying me back. I almost fell off my chair. Are you proud of me? She asked, her voice tinged with vulnerability. Was I? Maybe. I mean, it's not like I threw a parade or anything, but I guess I was glad she wasn't actively ruining her life anymore. Still, I couldn't forget the whirlwind of destruction she left in her wake. Golden siblings, it turns out, tarnished just like everyone else. They just fall from a shinier height. In the end, Ashley's rehab redemption taught me one thing. People can change, but scars don't vanish overnight. I may have forgiven her, but trust? That's still under construction. Baby steps, right?